If you've ever had to fill out a job application, you know that the two things any prospective employer is looking for is proficiency in Microsoft Excel and how to write good, solid rock riffs. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can use the combination of scale intervals and rhythms to create a riff, and this is also going to kind of double as a guitar lesson on how to play the original song Wasteland, which I will link you to below if you haven't checked that out, because I had some requests to kind of teach that. So basically, the riff we're going to learn sounds like this. So this is going to be kind of like a lesson in really just like intervals and just kind of how I write. I know a lot of people do write like this. I'm not saying this is like the end-all be-all way to write riffs. However you want to be creative, do it. But I think a lot of it comes with using your ear just to kind of find intervals that you think are interesting. So a little bit of backstory about the beginning of the song. It actually started as kind of like a jazz song where I was kind of like jamming on chords like... Okay, and I was like, all right, well, that's kind of like a cool chord progression. I had this B flat minor 7 into like a D flat major 7 into an A flat major 7 into like a E flat minor 9, something like that. Okay, and then eventually I got to thinking, okay, it's like I've got this chord right here. Like if you look at this chord, this is just a B flat minor 7 chord. Really easy chord voicing. 6 E, skip the A string. 6 6 6 on the D, G, and B string. It's like, all right, I've got this chord, but I wanted to make it more into like a riff. So this riff was born of the interval in this chord. What did I find interesting about this minor 7 chord that I wanted to use for the song? And to me, it was a root note and its relationship with that flat 7, okay? So again, flat 7, what that means is we have like the major scale from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. It would usually be here, but we're using the 6th fret on the D string. So I'm just going from the 6th fret to the E string to the D string, okay? And that's the relationship, the intervallic relationship between those two notes is a minor 7. And that came from this chord voicing, right? What I just found most interesting about that was the relationship between those two notes. And I also wanted to know, I wanted to do a song in 5/4 time signature. So all that means is every bar is 5 counts. So really, counting in 5 can be kind of hard at first if you start doing it, but if you think of it as 3 and 2, it's a little bit easier. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's really taking an interval and then starting to kind of incorporate some kind of rhythm, whatever type of rhythm you choose, I think is a good way to kind of start thinking about maybe writing a riff. And again, that's the difference between a riff and a chord, is behind every riff or, you know, phrase, however you want to look at it, there is a chord progression that exists. Even if you're not working kind of backwards from a chord progression like I'm talking about right now, no matter how you come up with it, whether it's scales, just messing around with stuff, there's always a chord that exists behind that. And this is just kind of an interesting way to look at, okay, here's a minor 7 chord, I'm taking a root and a 7 to kind of get that, and then adding a thing, right? Now, I just kind of took that same philosophy to the next chord, which was right here, which was like, all right, what do I like about this major 7 chord? I actually kind of like the sound of the root note to its major 3rd, okay? So again, if I just take the major scale from here, I go from the 9th fret on the E string to the 8th fret on the A string. That's a major 3rd. Any major chord has that interval in it wherever you want to root it. So I started with a minor 7 into sliding from 6E to 9E, adding its major 3rd and back into the next chord, which is also, in the original progression, was a major 7 chord. Again, I wanted to stick with that major 3rd, so I've got a root, its major 3rd, into the last chord, which was that minor 9, but I wanted to kind of have a few more notes than just kind of hammering on 2 notes the entire time, so it'd make it a little more interesting, maybe a little more complex even. I was just arpeggiating the first 3 notes I had in this, which is a root note, its minor 3rd. A minor 3rd is going to be down 2 strings, back, or down 1 string, back 2 frets. So from 6A to 4D into its minor 7, which is the same thing we started with. So a minor 7 from E flat would just be the 6th fret of the G string. So but played in the way that I've been swinging the rest of it. So we have 4 chords turned into just kind of one, semi-coherent riff. The B flat to the 9th fret major, 4th fret major, 6A, minor 7, chord voicing, into the start of a 5/4 time signature. Now after this, the time signature actually changes. And like if you're into like some cool like riffing bands, like to me, Tool is like one of the greatest bands ever at just like coming up with awesome riffs. And a lot of what they do is they change time signatures depending on what part of the riff they're in. So this is me just trying to be cool like Tool, failing probably, but having a part of it that's in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So really, it kind of switches from a 5/4 groove to like a 3/4, 6/4 groove after that. So if you want to maybe try to make things interesting, start working on like compounded time signatures to add the rhythm of those intervals that maybe you found interesting. Okay. So again, that's just like 6/4. And again, having a little bit of space in between those instead of like. Kind of adds a little bit of a riffage, if you will, that to me I think is important in just cool sounding guitar stuff, right? So that's kind of how you play the main line. Into the next part. So after this, it's straight up chord voicings and kind of picking through them, all right? So at this point in the lesson, we're just kind of going into this song and it's less about writing through intervals, but if you want to see more of the process, stick around. I'd love to talk about it. So after the A part, we go to the B part. And what I'm doing here is I got the 6th fret on the D string. It's 5th, like a power chord. Power chords, the root is 5th, very rock and roll thing to be doing. I'm going from here to it's 5th again, the 8th fret of the G, and then going an octave down, okay? So I'm thinking of the root note as being here, even though really it's like root 5th octave lower. So I've got the D string, G, 6A, D, G, D, G, D, G, A, D, G, D, G. And I'm kind of playing each note one at a time. I could just stay in like this chord voicing, but I kind of think it sounds better when you kind of hear each note starting and pausing. And also when I'm playing it, I've got a lot of distortion on, but I think it just sounds better clean in a solo context. And after this, we're going into another chord voicing, which is the 9th fret on the A string, which is an F sharp, and I'm just straight up arpeggiating this. Okay, so I'm hammering on from 6 to 9, major 3rd, just like we did in before, but now I'm doing kind of like a chord voicing where it's 9A, 8D, 6G. Arpeggiated in a way that's kind of consistent with how I've been playing it. Second time, we go straight up into just regular triad chords, okay? So this one starts as like either a minor 7 or, well, I guess that wouldn't be a triad if it's minor 7. But it's just E flat minor chord rooted on 6A. Is that minor chord voicing we talk about all the time. into just a regular major triad here on the 9th fret E string, into a B major triad. Oh, and then the money shot right here. I'm sliding into that 9th fret on the A string, and then getting 6 on D, G, and B, right? So I've got, which I think is like really kind of pretty chord right there. So the strings are being all right. A, D, B, G, A, G, B, into what's this root note? The 9th fret, and the A string is, what is it? It's an F sharp. So after kind of like hammering home on that a little bit, hit an F sharp power chord. And then that kind of ends up back at the beginning where it all started. All right. So basically we have two parts. There's the main riff and the 5/4. Into the verse riff. And then eventually we go into the chorus. Back to the riff. What? Oh my god. Genius writing. So actually, I just kind of wanted to take this part somewhere else. So 6E to 6D, 7E to 8D, which is a major 7 interval. Straight up, I knew I wanted to do something ascending, where I go 6, 7, 8, 9, but with a different interval each time. So minor 7, major 7, major 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 8E, 7D, octave. Minor 7, major 7, major 6, octave. Into breakdown. Every good rock song needs a breakdown, right? And again, where does this breakdown come from? It's all just power chords. 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, octave, flat, 7th, 3rd. Okay, so again, this might be kind of broken up, but I just kind of wanted to take you behind like the process of just kind of coming up with things and how songwriting is never just one thing. It's kind of a combination of a lot of things. That's why I really kind of stress learning chord voicings, arpeggios, scales, using your ear, learning songs you like, and eventually you'll kind of come up with like, hopefully like your own style or something, and a process of writing. So again, this might seem like a very disjointed lesson, but again, this is just kind of the best way I can explain coming up with like the writing behind it, because you know, you never know how your creativity might strike. So again, one more time, it's like after these power chords, root 8, root 7, flat 7, root major 3rd, and then kind of, you know, hammer that home. Then move everything down a string or a 4th higher. Very traditional bluesy rock blues thing, and then back to the root position. Or play it wrong. And then again, just kind of make alterations right there. That was just a power chord with a flat 5, root 4, root major 3rd. So, just a couple different ways of using intervals and rhythms to make your own rock riffs, or to make Sean Daniels rock riffs. So, thank you for accompanying me on the Sean Daniel Ego Trip of the Week. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comments section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.